What's happening, guys? Griz here, and I'm a little sick right now, so if you're wondering why my voice sounds a little weird, that's why. I always get so upset when I get sick because it very rarely happens, but when it does, I get it so bad. I don't know what it is, but like any illness or whatever always just hits me like a ton of bricks. But regardless, I wanted to bring you guys this video today because I'm a trooper like that. And this video is going to be all about the Dragon's Teeth DLC and how I feel about it. Now I know I'm ridiculously late on this, and most other YouTubers probably put their version of this video out like 3 or 4 hours after the launch of Dragon's Teeth, but I still think it's worth talking about, and I don't think I've even mentioned in passing in another video what I actually thought about the DLC. So here we go. For the gameplay, I made sure I got clips of all 4 new maps, and I tried to use all the new weapons as well, so you should see everything in that was included in the DLC in this video, at least a portion of it. To start things off, we're looking at some CS5 gameplay on Sunken Dragon, and this map is probably my least favorite of the 4 released in this DLC, but that doesn't mean I don't like it at all. Sniping can be a lot of fun, especially on the middle building of this map. But right now I'm up in the parking garage, which is also a great place to snipe from. The CS5 sniper rifle isn't what I would call the best by any stretch, but I did find it was a lot of fun to use with a short or a medium range optic. Even the iron sights obviously are quite a lot of fun to use, as you saw there. And I just played a bit more of a aggressive recon role, and it worked out pretty well. The CS5 works really great for that kind of action. It'll give you the one-hit kills in close if you hit the guy in the chest, so yeah, I find it to be a lot of fun to run around with and play a little more aggressively. The medium range optics also work really well on the CS5, and I think they're really like a great choice on these maps because they're so focused on close quarters and infantry-based gameplay. The Dragon's Teeth also comes with 2 new pistols for us to play with, the Unica 6 and the Desert Eagle. Anytime I hear the words Desert Eagle, I always think of Bullet Tooth Tony and Snatch at the end of the movie. It's like one of my favorite scenes when Saul and his boys are pointing their guns at him, and he's like, what does he say? Like a prick, you're having second thoughts. You're shrinking, and your 2 little balls are shrinking with you. And the fact that you've got Replica written down the side of your guns, and the fact that I've got Desert Eagle 5.0 written down the side of mine, should precipitate your balls into shrinking, along with your presence. Such a great movie. If you've never seen Snatch, I advise you to open up a new tab in your browser right now and download it, because you will not be disappointed. But anyway, the Deagle is amazing, but in order to unlock it, you have to get 20 headshots with the Unica 6, which I still have yet to finish. So I guess I kind of lied to you guys earlier when I said I have clips of all the new weapons, because I don't actually have any of the Desert Eagle. But I can tell you this, I've picked it up off the ground a few times, and it is just unbelievable. The Unica is a little less amazing, but it's, you know, still pretty great. They're both very powerful pistols and would both make the perfect sidearms for a recon player. You can almost use them as a primary, they're so strong. Before we move on, I just wanted to talk about this map, Lymphini Garden, a little bit. It can be pretty chaotic because, well, there's just so much open space in this map, it's crazy. If you're one of those guys that likes to stay back and snipe people at long range, this is probably going to be your favorite map, I think. I've been sniped clear across the map a few times, and you can't even get mad because that's just how this map plays. There is some cover to be had, but it's few and far between, so my advice to you for this map is to stay on the move as much as possible. Make those snipers work for their kills, and if you're getting shot at by one and you don't know where he is, check the outer walls, because I've found that snipers really like to hang out along these walls and prone out because they're just extremely hard to spot in that situation. You pretty much have to rely on catching a glimpse of their scope glint to get an idea where they are. One last thing about these 2 maps before we move on is, if you're a fan of Rush, I have some bad news for you. I don't like how Rush plays out on these two maps. It's extremely tough for the attackers, as usual, and as a result, the defenders usually end up winning. It's actually very tough to get past even the first MCOM stations on both of these maps. And if you're playing a 64-player game, forget about it. 64 players doesn't really work on any of the Dragon's Teeth maps, in my opinion, and the biggest game I ever join is a 48-player. Even that can be too crazy at times, though. But yeah, unfortunately Rush is still not in good shape, and that really disappointed me because, well, for one, DICE knows that the Rush community is upset at the state of the game mode. And two, this is a close quarters focused DLC, so I figured a lot of emphasis would be being put on Rush. But it wasn't, and I would recommend staying away from these two maps if you're looking for a good time playing Rush on this DLC. So now we've transitioned into some MPX gameplay, and this map is awesome. I'm playing on Pearl Market, and this is easily the best map of the DLC in my eyes. I love the up and down gameplay that this map provides with all the buildings and roofs and stuff you can get onto. I also love how you can run across like signage and other things to get from roof to roof. I just think that overall, this is the map that they put the most thought and time into, and the flow just seems to click with me. But like I mentioned, with the 64-player thing on Rush, once again, 64 players on this map is just craziness, and you're probably not going to have a good time. So stick with the 32 or 58-man games again on this map as well. The MPX is an excellent addition to the PDW class, and I can definitely see myself using it a lot. It functions and feels a lot like the MP7, so if you're a fan of that weapon, you'll probably like this guy too. It really shines in Pearl Market. It's a beast in close quarters, and all the narrow alleyways and hallways in this map, just kind of like a match made in heaven, really. The Engineer class plays a huge role in Pearl Market Conquest too, because it's one of the only maps in this DLC that does have an armored vehicle in it. Mind you, it's just the Amtrak, which isn't as big of a threat as, say, an MBT, but when someone gets in that gunner seat, it can be real annoying, so the Engineer does have an important role to play on this map for sure. I really like how there are not a lot of vehicles in this DLC. I felt like Naval Strike was a great DLC. There are too many vehicles and not enough cover, just the ratio should have been a little more even if you ask me. And China Rising was just a huge, what I call, vehicle circle jerk. Very reminiscent of Armored Kill from Battlefield 3. Basically, if you like to play infantry mostly, like me, you probably went back to the vanilla maps rather quickly after both of those DLCs came out. I definitely played Naval Strike a lot more, but man, I hated China Rising, just for the pure fact that if you weren't in a vehicle, you were basically screwed. Dragon's Teeth, on the other hand, is a refreshing change from that. And of course, I'm not trying to say that I don't like the vehicles, or that I'd rather them not be in the game or anything like that. I like the vehicles just fine. In fact, that's what I think really makes Battlefield Battlefield, and what separates it from Call of Duty. You don't need to get a 7 kill streak to get a helicopter as a reward. You just hop in that sucker off the spawn, man, heli time. But at the same time, when you play infantry a lot in Battlefield, you start to get a little bit of a hate on for the guys who sit and wait at their deployment screen for the chopper to spawn the entire game. In fact, I have a bit of a story about that exact situation that I think will transition nicely into the final map of the DLC, Propaganda. Did I pronounce that right, by the way? Is it Propaganda or Propaganda? I'm not sure. Alright, so story time. But first, obviously, this is the final new weapon I needed to talk about, the Bulldog. And this is the final map of the DLC as well. But back to the story first though. If you've been watching my channel for at least the past few months, you probably know how I feel about the UCAV. I love it. I think it's the best support gadget available, and it might even be the best lethal gadget in the game. Once you unlock that airburst, man, it's a whole new ballgame. Anyway, one day I'm playing Conquest on Zavad 311, and this guy is doing exactly what I just described, hogging the chopper the entire game. So I'm doing my thing, you know, playing support, launching UCAVs and taking out roof Wookiees. So I launched one at his chopper and I took him down, and in the chat he writes, UCAV Yay. There was an expletive in the middle of that too, but I figured I'd leave that out because if you swear a lot, that just means you have a bad vocabulary and can't express yourself any other way. But that's beside the point. So a few minutes later, I did it to him again, and sure enough, the chat lights up again, UCAV, yay. So I get a little tired of that, and I respond to him, UCAV, awesome. And he just starts going off on me. You're the type of player everybody hates. It's a cheap way to get kills. Why don't you use a weapon that requires some skill? Blah, blah, blah. Same old story I've heard 1,000 times. So I fire back, of course, and I said something along the lines of, oh, you're one of those people, are you? Don't use that weapon. It's for noobs, etc., etc. Well, while you're sitting at your deployment screen for 2 minutes at a time waiting for the chopper to spawn again, I'm running around capping flags, taking out choppers, and helping my team get the win. What are you doing for your team during those 2 minutes while you're just waiting to hog the chopper from everyone else? How do they feel about that? I'm not sure if that was exactly what I said, but it was something along those lines, and I basically had the whole server, teammates and enemies, on my side, telling this guy, like, calm down, it's a weapon, he's allowed to use it if he wants, like, STFU or GTFO. It was hilarious. And, like, I get it, guys, I really do. It sucks being killed by a UCAV. I hate it too. But it's a weapon in the game, and you can't get mad at people for using it just because you think it's cheap. And there's my public service announcement for the week. And no, I didn't forget, I said that story would transition nicely, and it does, because the UCAV is super deadly on this map. The design is just perfect, because the map is basically a long rectangle. And with only a few scattered buildings to hide in, it's fairly easy to rack up the double and triple kills by just flying your UCAV into one of these buildings and detonating it over a cluster of enemies. I was playing an attacking side of Rush on this map, and the second set BMCOM, I believe, just gets so oversaturated with defenders every time. I launched a UCAV in there the other day and I got a 5-piece. It was incredible. But yeah, the map is great. This one and Pearl Market really stand out in my eyes, and I really enjoy playing on them. The Bulldog, as I'm sure most of you are aware, is really good as well. Very reminiscent of the Scar H, so it's got that high damage and high recoil. I'd say it's a bit more of an advanced or intermediate level weapon because of that high recoil, but it's still easy to pick this thing up and do well with it, so players of any caliber can grab the Bulldog and probably have decent success with it. Overall, I really enjoyed, and I'm still enjoying, the Dragon's Teeth DLC, and if you don't have Premium, maybe you waited for all the DLCs to be released before buying any, or if you're just picking up the game now, I highly recommend getting this DLC over the other two because, in my opinion, it's the only one that's worth the money 100%. Although, Naval Strike was a lot of fun too, but if you like the infantry-based gameplay like me, you're gonna like Dragon's Teeth just a little bit more, I think. Anyway, that's gonna do it for me, guys. Sorry about the super longness of this video, but I do hope you enjoyed it. If I'm feeling a little better later on tonight, I might do a live stream. I don't know. I want to start doing a weekly stream though, so I need everyone to let me know down in the comments what day of the week would be would you be able to most often watch on, I guess. Or are you even interested in live streams at all? Either way, I want to start doing one once a week, and I'd love to be able to know when the most amount of you guys will be able to watch, and then I'll do it on that day. So let me know if you can, and I'll do my best to figure out a schedule. As always, if you like the video and you want to show it a little love, you can do so by clicking the like button down below. And if you're new around here, I invite you to hit that subscribe button and become my guide, buddy. We can go searching for treasure and go down to Carl's Craft Dinner Restaurant. Thank you so much for watching, guys. My name is Griz. Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell craft dinner.